Hello there, my name is Pavel Stenmach and now we'll unveil the top news of recent days. Sanctions against Russia are working. Slower than we would like, but still. For example, the accident at the Nizhny Novgorod oil refinery was the first known case where a shortage of equipment due to sanctions could lead to a long-term shutdown of production. I will note once again the first known case. It is currently unknown how many times Russian production faced this. But the oil refinery is important for providing the Moscow region, which accounts for about 30% of the country's gasoline consumption. As the newspaper Kommersant writes, since January 10th, Russian company Lukoil stopped the sale of AI-95 gasoline on the stock exchange, probably in order to provide fuel to its own gas station network. Yes, it doesn't have a significant impact on the prices at this moment, since winter is a time of low demand for fuel. However, the spring field season and the summer holiday season will begin, and the fuel shortage will be felt by everyone. By the way, Lukoil, the owner of the plant, is the largest non-state company in Russia by revenue, but it cannot repair its equipment. After all, January 4th, the catalytic crackling installations failed. In particular, foreign compressor equipment broke, which cannot be replaced in the near future, as sanctions have limited the possibility of its purchase. In total, there are 2 catalytic cracking units at the Nizhny Novgorod refinery. And both have already broken. Only one of them managed to start at lower power. By the way, the gasoline from Nizhny Novgorod refinery was delivered to Moscow by the pipeline. If fuel is transported from other enterprises, this will lead to a significant increase in the cost of logistics and an increase in delivery times. Russia is the world's great gas station, which cannot supply its country with normal gasoline. By the way, if the cost of fuel increases, then all prices will go up too, because logistics is one of the main costs in any industry. And I will tell you one more piece of news in terms of problems at oil refineries. Ukrainian drones attacked an oil depot in St. Petersburg last night. This was an operation carried out with the involvement of modern Ukrainian means, reported Ukrainian Pravda, related on sources in the special services. They added that the military facilities of St. Petersburg and the Leningrad region are now within the reach of Ukrainian forces. But there are already industries in Russia that have decided not to wait for gasoline to rise in price and have started to raise prices. We are talking about chicken carcasses and ordinary eggs. If you didn't know, before the new year, all the eggs on the shelves disappeared. The problem became so huge that Putin even spoke about it during the hotline. Now it seems that the product is already on the shelves, but it is 60% more in cost. But you know what's interesting? The Kremlin authorities could say that the shortage of eggs is all the speculations of capitalists or Western enemies. But the fact is that the owners of the largest factories are the Russian state or officials. 5 of the 12 largest egg producers in Russia are controlled by government agencies as well as current or foreign officials. This is stated in a Forbes analysis, which covers the largest poultry farms for a production of 600 million eggs in 2022. But you know what's interesting? Russia, which says that it feeds the whole world and can help starving countries, cannot feed its own people, because it turns out that laying hens feed equipment for farms are also produced in the West, and it is difficult to buy them nowadays. Of course, you can use third countries, but it is firstly more expensive, and secondly, it takes longer. However, for now, Russians endure all the troubles that their government has prepared for them, including communal problems, because, again, everyone in the Kremlin said that without Russian gas, Europe would freeze. But it turned out that buildings in the suburbs of Moscow were freezing. The State Duma deputy speaker called for equating national communities and diasporas with the mafia. As Pyotr Tolstoy said, national communities pose a threat to Russia because they live according to their own laws, outside the legal framework of the country. He saw crime in the activities of such organizations. According to Tolstoy, national diaspora communities are nothing more than legalized mafia structures. They bribe local authorities, help their own militants avoid punishment, make semi-legal business and intimidate everyone else. Tolstoy called for an end to inter-ethnic liberalism and the liquidation of such associations. Yes, This is the same Tolstoy who a few years ago was the vice speaker of the PACE. And he talks about the people who live on the territory of Russia. But don't get confused. If a European country restricts the ability of Russians to travel, then this is oppression of rights. And if in Russia you are prohibited from communicating with your fellow countrymen, this is a fight against terrorism. I would not be surprised if indigenous peoples on Russian territory will soon be prohibited from gathering for national celebrations or rallies in defense of their rights. After all, how can you fight for your rights or for your compatriots, as happened in Bashkortostan yesterday? Let me remind you that Bashkirs took part in a mass protest in the city of Baimak against the prosecution of a national activist, Fail Alsinov. Fail is a political prisoner and the victim of a case fabricated by the Russian regime as part of the Kremlin's repressive policy towards the national movements of the indigenous peoples of the Russian Federation. About 5,000 activists gathered near the courthouse where the trial of Alsinov took place. Even fighters of the so-called Bashkir battalions formed by the Russians to participate in the war against Ukraine spoke in the support of Alsinov. But the Russians are not accustomed to this. They are all happy with life. So what if, without gasoline, eggs, and in a cold apartment, but they are all for Putin? Here you will see the elections results. No citizens' problems will stop them from voting for the Moscow dictator. That concludes today's video. Thank you for watching. Stay updated, comment, like, and subscribe to our UATV English channel for more news from Ukraine. Your support really matters. Goodbye.